What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Simple Man Podcast. Here with Damien.
What's up, y'all? It's Nicky Rod, JayRod,
And then with guest
Zack Telander. How we doing?
Zack Telander.
Zack Telander.
Yep.
Can you give them a little intro on who you are?
Yeah, I guess my official title now would just be YouTube content creator, which sounds crazy, but I started doing strength and conditioning training, and then got into the sport of Olympic weightlifting and competed, and then I became just full-on Olympic weightlifting coach for 5 or 6 years, and I was competing, and then recently stopped competing in weightlifting. I started doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years, and then now I really am trying to push the content thing and like trying to get my channel going and get everything going. So I stopped coaching entirely, and I'm just focusing on content. And so yeah, and while I was doing the jiu-jitsu thing, I found the boys at Brazilian Fight Factory, and it was really cool because I went in there. My buddy came in to visit, and he trained with Cyborg, oddly enough, and he was like, Cyborg suggested going to BFF because he knows Rodrigo, and so my buddy took me to jiu-jitsu. He then left. He went back to Miami, and then I just kept going, and then 2 years later, I started working there, and then I had an exchange with William Tackett and Andrew Tackett and anyone else who wanted to come, like Rodrigo would hop in, where I would do sessions for them in the weight room, and they would do sessions for me on the mats. It was like the coolest
Like
exchange.
privates?
Some privates, but
semi-privates?
yeah, just I just got free training.
Yeah.
So
sick.
yeah, it was amazing. And
So you work with like athletes or just like?
yeah, I was so like primarily like I got into strength and conditioning. So right out of college, I was like, I'm not done athletically. Like I played lacrosse in college. I played sports my whole life.
Where'd you go to school at?
University of Vermont.
Okay.
You played in college?
Yeah,
Shit,
Division
what
One.
were
Yeah.
you, D? Defense?
No, I played midfield. So I
Oh,
was running
wow.
a lot. Yeah.
Awesome. Shit.
And I was like, man, I still have like more to give.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people in jiu-jitsu have that same thing. It's like they're in their mid 20s. Like, dude, I'm still an athlete, and jiu-jitsu is that outlet for them. So it's like, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially a lot of wrestlers that grew up wrestling, it's like, what do they have after college? Like,
Yeah,
what-
you have all this world-class training. You've been competing since you were 5, and then like you're 22 and don't know
You're
where
like,
to go.
Shit,
Yeah,
I
now
keep
you got the
wanting-
fucking jiu-jitsu cheat code. You're a wrestler.
Yep.
It's insane.
It's true.
And then so I actually started doing CrossFit right out of college because I read a Men's Journal article. It was like this dude doing this crazy workout. I'm like, I want to try it out. And like most people, most Kool-Aid drinking CrossFitters, you get addicted. Very similar vibes to jiu-jitsu, to be honest with you. Like the addiction.
Like, what is it? The community that people like?
Community and the amount of skills. The amount, like your mind just goes, and
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, like sometimes I couldn't sleep, bro. I'd be thinking about my matches and shit. Like I'm sure it's happened to you guys. Like, oh, I could have done this move, you know.
CrossFit's interesting because like there's so many different avenues to win. To where like if you're a good lifter but you're a bad runner, everything kind of balances out.
Exactly. So I got into that, and then I realized and then I started coaching CrossFit and then dabbling with weightlifting. So when I say weightlifting, I mean Olympic lifting. And I realized like I cared too much about performance than to just like help like people just want to get more
Like
fit.
the normal guy that wants to lift weights isn't able to appreciate the amount of skill you have, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I would work my ass off to teach this person how to snatch. And a snatch and a clean and jerk, those are the two movements in Olympic weightlifting. Then only for them to come in the next week and be like, wait, is the snatch with the wide grip or the, and I'm like, fuck, man, I put so much effort in that, and then I realized it's like, I want to put that effort in, but I want to go somewhere. So that's when I switched over to strength and conditioning, and then I went to the collegiate field for strength and conditioning. Got a bunch of certifications. Worked at Northwestern University. Worked at Texas A&M University, and then from there, I didn't really like the end game there. So I started focusing on Olympic weightlifting. At that time, I found out like what YouTube was. Like in 2016, YouTube was like pretty substantial, but for me, it was just an area where you put up cat videos. You know, it's like where you look at viral shit.
It's definitely evolved.
Yeah, I didn't know like people go and like I didn't know of it as like a social media thing, and I saw this guy named Casey Neistat. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah. Viral New York, right?
Yep. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the coolest shit ever. So I started making vlogs, and the vlogs sucked dick, bro. They were horrible. And I posted one to the CrossFit Reddit page. And this one guy sent me a comment, and I'll never fucking forget this comment. It changed my fucking life, bro. He said, I don't understand why we're supposed to be interested. You're not that good looking. You're not that strong. You're not that good at CrossFit. And you haven't told us any goals that you have. I'm like, all right, first off, fuck you, you know? but second off, like, I realized that I didn't have anything. But one of the things he said was like, what are you good at? Like, show us that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm pretty fucking good at teaching people how to weightlift. So my first video, I erased all those videos. My first video was like one tip or one snatch progression to make you snatch more weight. And I remember that video got like 500 views, and I got an email. Every subscriber that I got, I would get an email. I got like 25 emails. I'm like, holy shit, I'm onto something.
Oh, yeah.
And here I am 7 years later, and I've made a video every single week, at least one video every single week since then.
Wow.
And so that's how
it's about consistency.
Yeah.
Now
absolutely.
you really grew your YouTube channel. You want to shout out your YouTube channel?
Yeah,
also?
yeah, just my name, Zack Telander.
Zack Telander.
Yeah.
And then how many subscribers do you have now, 7 years later?
201K.
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
but
impressive.
dude, I never.
When did you find like the outline of what it takes to build your channel?
That was it right there.
Yeah.
That was literally that first video. That was like, okay. So I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, if you can get one person interested in whatever you just said, it's likely you can get two. Okay, now take those two. It's likely you can get two. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Find that thing and hone it and get it good, and then expand your audience like that. It's not a hard thing. Like, it's when you get this cognitive dissonance where you're like, oh, I can be a vlogger. Like, it was me. I was like holding a camera like, all right, what's up, guys? I'm going to go train today. And like, no one gave a fuck about that, you know? But the moment I gave my expertise to people, they're like, whoa, this is cool. It's all right. I got something here. Take
like
what
you gotta find your niche within
the value.
Like, you find your niche within a niche.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
That was it. And then, you know, I've never had a break, guys. Like, never. Like, I can say I had 1 month where I gained 10,000 subscribers, which is crazy. That's insane to think about. That was the whole like shit that I did with More Plates, More Dates, and
that was recent one.
No, before that.
Okay. And
it was cool. It was awesome. But if you look at my social blade, it is literally a direct line. There's no, there's no nothing. It's just straight up for 7 years, and I'm cool with that now. You know, I'm not fucking NickyRod. You know what I'm saying? Like, you blew up on the scene. You but that's your thing, right? And you're so good at it that like that people are gonna watch you for that. You know, it's cool. I'm sitting across from almost the opposite in that way, right? Like, so people want to watch you fucking do jiu-jitsu, and you do it well, and that's how you found your shit.
I'm also beautiful. That's one of my.
So
you got modeling. You got the modeling shit too.
You're
you
saying
know?
that's the opposite?
No, I'm just saying that's one of my other niches.
Right. You got the modeling shit, and so like, you know, it's just self-awareness. That's it. That's it. And if you find a little thing like this is again the antithesis to a lot of like serious winners and serious players in any game. My thing is like I've never really had a goal besides one, and that is to just improve. Like literally, so if I can gain 100 subscribers, that's my goal. And if I can get another 100, another 100. Whereas some people might be like, I want 1 million subscribers, you know? I just can't think like that. I never thought about that in in Olympic lifting. I never thought about that, like, because it's a numbers game. That's all it is. How much can you put on the bar? That's it. It's the only thing that fucking matters. And so I never once was like, I want to lift this thing. I want to do this thing. It was always just like, can I do 1 pound more? And that's just been the way that I've gone about this the whole time. So
just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it had to be that way. Because, like, if I went about it and was like, nah, fuck this guy, you know, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, like, might have happened eventually, or I probably would have quit because I would have gotten my head beaten in by
the comments.
Yeah, just never, no one ever watching my shit. I've seen so many people come up and be like, hey, how do you get your YouTube better? How do you do this? How do you do this? I think you said, how can we get our YouTube channel better? I said, do what you're doing. You're fine.
Yeah. That was great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched your shit. I look at your thumbnails. I look at your titles. I go, just don't do anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be fine.
Awesome.
You know? And that's it. Like, you find... I think it's when the people are like, nah, fuck it. There's no limits. I can do whatever I want. It's like, no, you can't do whatever you want, dude. Find what you can do and get better at that thing. You know, you can't force a square into a round hole. It just doesn't work like that.
You can try, though. You can try.
Yeah.
Do you ever have trouble, or have you even tried expanding to other areas of content that you haven't really gotten to yet?
Yes. So my goal is to try and blur the lines a little bit.
Yes.
Now. So, you know, like, we train together, you know, it's like...
Your arms look bigger now, I must say.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Great.
That session really made a difference.
In the world of athletics, what you do immediately before and leading up to competition has direct correlation towards your success in competition. Pre-match ritual by Nicky Rod on BJJ Fanatics.
I had like a comedian come and train, and it's like wherever I can kind of mix the two worlds the best way.
Uncle Laser.
Yeah, Uncle Laser. Yeah.
I've seen great
Oh,
content.
dude, he's funny,
He's
man.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He's a good
Yeah.
follow
I was just
on
chatting
social
with him
media.
on the way here. So
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
he's in San Antonio with Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh, is he's going to the fights?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's
Yeah, he's sitting ringside.
Yeah, that's
Sick,
what's up.
sick. I forgot that they're fighting in San
We
Antonio.
actually went dune buggy riding with Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh, yeah. I
Dude,
forgot
like
about-
professional guys driving us around. It was sick.
Dude,
I bet
honestly,
that shit was scary as shit.
Oh, we went
we almost-
airborne.
Yeah, we
We're
almost
flying.
flipped.
Yeah.
We almost flipped. Dude, first, it's crazy how good at driving Cowboy actually is. Like,
He smoked
you
us.
would think that's like there's not that much skill. We're fucking in the desert, but man, he was like explaining to we were with Dan Bilzerian's brother Adam, right? Adam Bilzerian, and he's like explaining him how to hit this turn. He's like, man, you gotta decelerate here, jab left real quick, and then accelerate to the right so you can dig your tires in. And it's like I was like, holy shit. But then,
Dude, but you get that though. Like, if you're gonna get good at anything, you got to learn the skill of it. It's like any of you guys would do the same shit. If you were interested in, like, do any of you guys shoot?
yeah, I guess shooting.
Like, yeah. So you want to know how to do that shit correctly, and you want to know all the tactics and shit. You're gonna become a fucking nerd about it.
Addicted. Yeah, no,
you know?
you're right.
It's the same thing. It is shocking though that he has another skill, but like that's just in your fucking blood, bro.
Like DNA, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, I rode like dirt bikes and you know we've recently been riding mountain bikes.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. And there's quite a bit of skill that comes to it, like riding properly, especially racing, or as soon as you start jumping, like you really got to understand the mechanics of it.
Bro, you remember when we almost flipped?
Yeah. Oh
Dude,
yeah.
tell that story.
On the dune buggy you're talking
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think we were just we skipped over this jumping section on the way in, and on the way out our driver was like, oh, we gotta hit this, so he just hits it, and I think he just gave it a bit too much gas at the end, and or no, maybe he let off the gas at the end, so we ended up going like nose down, and we were like it
we
felt
were looking at
it. It felt like we were nearly upside down, and him flooring it just like whipped us back around. Yeah, sketchy moment, but I mean, it would have made it probably would have been better story if we
did crash. That would have been sick. That would have been a good story.
No,
Yeah.
we made it out.
But so explain how the connection between you guys happened. That was through.
Oh
through
yeah,
Derek,
we
right?
met through More Plates, More Dates.
Yeah, I know all of the fucking Gordon lore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have I would say I'm invested from an outsider's view in the jiu-jitsu community. Like, also just knowing the Austin community too. So like, I know the back and forth like really well. And I saw, you know, Gordon, once he gets on something, he's gonna make a million stories, a million posts, and they're all at Nicky. And then I don't know how it happened, but it was like your response was like, fuck you, like I'll make a test, like test me or something. Or Derek said, I'll test you.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. And then Derek immediately messaged me. He's like, "Do you want to go be the like witness?" I was like, "Yeah, can I video it?" He's like, "Yeah, I want you to." I'm like,
So,
"Yeah, cool."
so it was you that forged the Natty status. You were the one that was responsible because obviously he's on steroids.
Yeah, I was
You
the
were the
vessel.
one-
Oh, he forged it.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
It's his
right.
blood actually. They took his
Yeah.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Derek's an interesting cat. Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you get to know him really well, he's very like diligent about all the tiny little details on everything, and that's like how his content comes to life, especially around blood work and all of that. And so it's about time he dove into the jiu-jitsu world, you know. And it's a very interesting one. I had William on my YouTube channel, and we talked about steroids. And I'm like, why the fuck aren't you on taking them? He's like, because I don't want to ruin my life, man. I don't want to, I don't want to fucking.
There was a lot of risk.
Yeah.
I want to have kids.
Even the simple things makes hard, like the skin. I mean, some of these guys have terrible skin. I got nice
Or
skin.
hair. Like people lose kids. Like guys lose their hair
young,
early.
right?
Yeah.
Face looks like shit.
Yeah, and they're not smart about it. They're not being smart. It's like they're just like getting Bomba off the fucking streets in Miami and just like sending it. They don't know, but it fucking works, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I think, yeah, I talking to William about it, and it's just a weird thing in the culture. It's a very weird thing.
It's definitely accepted by most. Besides
Oh yeah,
IBJJF.
it's assumed. It's assumed.
it's assumed,
Well,
yeah.
I was shocked that the IBJJF even like my vibe that I got, and I made a video on this on the 5 dudes who were just popped. Like the vibe there is like they're not gonna pop you.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's USADA comes around every once in a while, but it's like it's not really real. Because like every fucking IBJJF tournament I've ever been to, I've watched like 4 or 5. I've competed in only
Even
one.
the people that aren't professional, like get saucy for like a Nago or an IBJJF.
Right,
pants or
and so
something.
it's like no one's gonna get popped. Even like the pro black belts, like they're not gonna get popped.
Yeah.
Okay, and then all of a sudden, boom! Like USADA's here, boom! All 5 of you guys are
bunch of
fucked.
people.
And so it's like, all right, well, which one is it? Like, go all the way. Just go the UFC route. Like, be at every single fucking open and test all the black belts. Don't worry about the color belts. Who gives a fuck? Test every single black belt or top 10 black belts. Just do it every competition, and then we can just kind of be like, that's where the IBJJF is. If you want to do WNO, and if you want to do, UFC Fight Pass, like, just you can take whatever you want because it's not part of the rules. It's kind of like powerlifting. If you want to be in the USPL, United States Powerlifting, I think is what it is. That's tested. You're likely gonna get tested. But if you're in any other federation, do whatever you want. 'Cause it's part of
Each federation kind of do their own thing.
yeah, and like the IBJJF is kind of it. I mean, it's the only place where you would watch gi fighting, or if anyone wants to fucking watch that, which no one really does. Although some of the ones I enjoy watching gi fighting every once in a while. I think it's kind of cool. But like that's my mindset on it. It's just it's from an outsider's perspective, it seems very odd.
Yeah, I feel like if there were a USADA testing throughout in IBJJF, I feel like a lot of those guys just wouldn't even compete in IBJJF then. Like
Yeah.
like if it's actually mandatory, it's like okay, well then I'll just go do the 10 other organizations and get paid for it.
Right. So again, I don't want to be like a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist here, but like it's the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Like there's favoritism at every turn. There has to be, right? Like because which family owns or like runs it?
Oh shit, I have no idea.
Probably
IBJJF.
one. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Carlos Gracie Jr. or is that the whatever? I don't know.
know.
It's the lineage
Beats me.
is crazy or whatever, but I guess it's just like whenever there's doping control, there's potential for corruption. But if we can have this black and white thing where it's like all doping is allowed,
Oh, is allowed.
yeah. If it was right, like so, like in ADCC, doping is allowed. It's like all right, hands off. There's no corruption here. We know there isn't.
What's your guys' thoughts? So I don't even think like ADCC, it's not like doping is allowed. There's just no rules against it, which I guess kind of makes it allowed. But like, so say it's allowed. Everybody's allowed to do steroids. Do you think it's wrong to not do steroids. Like, you know, Star-Lord, we were talking about it. Remember? He was saying, like, he was commenting about you or NickyRods, saying that he was like, well, you compete in a sport that doesn't test. You can't complain that you're losing to juiced guys when you're natural. It's like either take steroids like everyone else, don't take steroids, but then you can't complain about it. And there was one more thing, but like, what do you guys say to that?
Don't take steroids and live longer.
Yeah,
That's-
right. I
that's
mean, that's
pretty
the next thing.
fucking
It's like,
simple.
you're
Also,
gonna force
like-
these people to take drugs now?
Just put like a test.
Also, I don't think I was complaining. I would just say
No,
it.
no, no,
That
no,
was
you
I
weren't-
was just mentioning it.
Yeah,
you
I don't
know?
even think this post was like directed specifically towards you. I think it was just
in
like in general.
It was about you, for sure.
Okay, there's
Come
a
on,
possibility.
dude.
Okay,
It's
regardless.
okay, fine.
There should be fucking testing, and even like it's just not fair.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
all the
not
professional. There's only not testing because we aren't as professional as like NBA or NFL, something
There's
like
just
that.
not as much money
But
in
you,
the sport.
all right. So you might know more about this than we do. Actually, I'm sure you do, just because we don't know anything. We can't use that. Cut that out. But
Yeah, you
With the
fucking
R word.
can.
can we not get can we get demonetized for that? I said the N-word on the previous one. I'm terrified.
You're good.
Well, I know I'm good. I'm worried
Yeah,
about the
say it.
channel. No, we're good. We're good.
Oh.
Okay, but so
Shit.
with drugs, what were we talking about? All right, so I lost my train of thought. So doing steroids. Oh, how do people in the NFL still do steroids?
Yes.
People in the UFC still do steroids.
So I
Like,
think of it.
how do they get around it?
So I think of it like this. As long as you have control over like what the metabolites are, like what if we're taking urine samples, like it's just finding metabolites from whatever drug it is that you're taking. So if you have control over that, you should be okay. It's just like it is. Everyone says that drug testing is like an IQ test, like knowing when. It's like, well, I know a guy who spends his whole life studying and figuring this shit out, and he's telling me constantly that it's not simple. It's not
a
fucking.
pass.
Yeah, his
How
name's
pass is
Derek from More Plates, More Dates. It's not fucking simple. So like to act like that everyone can pass a test and do this shit. Like,
How
all
does
right, you
TJ
want roll?
Dillashaw get caught if that's the case?
I think because he got called, like someone specifically told.
Yeah,
USADA.
I mean, and like if you want to roll the dice and wear that on you, like that's the scary thing. Like think of the stress that you would have as an athlete, worrying that USADA is going to show up at your door. It wouldn't be stressful at all if you weren't on drugs, right? But say you're on drugs and you could get tested at any moment. Are the metabolites gone? I don't fucking know. I don't have a lab. You know, I can't run that shit. So it is very difficult to do that. I mean, I don't understand why people think it's just like some easy thing, like some dummy can get away with it. Like, I don't think it's that simple. But what I would say is this is like, there are things that, you know, you don't want to do the drugs like a bodybuilder would. You just do enough, you know. You need to be a fucking good natural athlete. And I believe that any good athlete that was ever on drugs was fucking insanely talented off of drugs. I would say Barry Bonds is a great example of this.
Okay, yeah.
Dude was insanely athletic and an amazing baseball player. Late into his career, he got too strong, like suspiciously strong, being like too good. You know, there's some baseball players that literally got too good.
Just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors, MASF Supplements and Violent Hippie. Use code SimpleMan, all caps, for 15% off both of those companies. MASF Supplements, trademarked Smash and Greens, Smash and Reds, very nutrient-dense foods. I personally use their creatine and BCAAs during my workout and sometimes even before the workout. For Violent Hippie, they have soaps, USDA CBD oils, T-shirts, rash guards, you name it, owned by former Navy SEAL Mitch Aguiar. Use Simple Man to get 15% off.
Guys, Violent Hippie, massive supplements, get the Smashing Greens, Smashing Reds, all the vitamins, nutrients you need to get that body that you want.
Natty Rod style. What's going on, guys? Make sure to check out Emerald City Invitational, April 29th, only on Flow Grappling.
You heard that exclusively on Flow Grappling. You guys want to see some arms getting broken, some dudes getting choked out? Emerald City Invitational, April 29th.
Yeah, so I made this video about these, how CrossFitters are getting younger, and everyone said, okay, well, that's just PEDs. And there's 3 girls. Mal O'Brien is the best, and then there's this girl, Emma Lawson, and Emma Carey, and they're all under 20 years old. Okay, if we think about if those children are doping when they're children or whatever, they all live with their parents. Their parents are complicit in illegal activity. And then someone's going to say, well, if you don't think parents would partake in an illegal activity, I'm like, yeah, okay, but what you're accusing is like this like every step of the way, it gets wider. Like the more people who are in trouble, like the sketchier it gets fucking sketchier. Where are they getting their drugs from? Like, how are they doing this? You know, it's like you become more of a conspiracy theorist every step of the way.
That is true.
And so if you're going to call someone out, like, let's see how this thing develops. Now, if you're a 30-year-old, you've got a lot of money, you have access to a doctor, like, it's a little bit more reasonable to think that this could happen. And it has happened, especially in CrossFit. There's a lot of dudes and chicks who've been popped, but the testing is sparse and, you know, we don't know.
Bro, even high school in wrestling, like, there's a lot of high school kids that take gear.
Right. And so, yeah, so look, the people that say that these, you know, I call them kids because, like, when they started training hard, they were kids. Like, legally, not adults. They are, it was so weird. Like, we kept calling them girls because they're fucking young and, like, they're just turning 18. And I got so many comments from people being like, they're women. It's like, fuck off. You know, they're young as fuck. That's all I can say. Yeah. And to immerse yourself in the world of androgens as a child is an awful thought. It's horrifying. It is. And so, look, I couldn't say that they're clean for sure. I would say there's a percentage of me that believes that they're clean, and that's a majority percentage. Mm-hmm. Crazier things have happened. There have been crazy things that have happened. I made a video on kids taking drugs, and there were systems across the world where they were giving drugs to children. And that's a totally separate thing. So it is possible.
Well, like the Cuban wrestlers or something like that.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah. So I don't know about,
like, I didn't hear about that.
I don't know about that, but the ones that so there was a program in East Germany. So, like, so this is when Germany was split into two, and there's the wall. You know, because of the Cold War, and the East German side was like that was the side you didn't want to be on. And they had, I forget what it was, something plan, State Plan 1425, I believe it's called. And it was the plan that they were going to make their athletes great. And there's a book called Faust's Gold. It's fucking awesome to read, by the way. I'm not a big book guy. I'm sure you guys aren't as well. But this one,
second grade reading level, so
it's not like a hard reading level. It's just like every page. It's not. No, because I'm
audiobook.
No, yeah, but it's interesting because, like, every page is the account. So there's a massive trial, and it was mainly the women's swim team from East Germany, and these women were just taking the pills after practice. Like, they didn't know, they didn't ask. They knew they were special. They knew they were changing them, right? Fast forward to like 10 years later. So this was like a trial that happened in 2000. These women, like 2 of them transitioned. A bunch of them were not able to have children. Like, it ruined their fucking lives. Oh, wow. And then it accounted from one woman who's like, I'm not taking the fucking pills anymore. They're like, fine, go swim in the slow lane because your times suck. And then she just was ostracized on her team while she was fucking swimming off to the side. Wow. And they were teenagers. Basically, you go through puberty, drugs, androgens. One of my like mentors, his name's Max Ada. He's an Olympic weightlifting coach. He had multiple Pan American record holders, American record holders in the snatch and clean and jerk. Really illustrious coach in America. And he was talking to a Soviet coach. And they were basically saying, you know, 12 to 13-year-old girls, we put them on, you know, anything from Diana Ball to you name it. Yep. And then same thing with the boys. You go through puberty, you take your androgens. So that was it. So it is possible, but that's more of a state-sanctioned type of thing. Now, if we're thinking about like privately to give your kids something, like you're an abusive parent, you need to be thrown behind bars. Like you're a fucking sick bastard.
Could you take I don't know if you'll know this answer, but could you take gear as like pre-puberty and get bigger than you otherwise would have?
I don't fucking know. Derek did a video on a kid who like had abnormal testosterone at like 2 years old or something. Have you seen this fucking thing?
You watched it? Did you? I forget now.
Wild. This is when I wish,
So
I wish
why?
you had like a screen or something we
dad
could
with
pull
the
up. Or,
gel?
yeah, something with the
Yeah.
gel or something. I don't know. But,
But
yeah,
wait,
like
testosterone gel?
Yeah.
look like it's anything with hormones. Like your body just stops the signal.
What, is there a picture of the child?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like child is fucking huge.
It's like 2 years old with a
Yeah,
mustache.
2 years old. He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just messing with hormones and shit like that. Like there's always a cost. You know, you're to deal with the devil.
Yeah. I feel like there can't be many, like we can't know what's going on because it's like that means they'd have to do a study on it, and there has to be they have to
Long-term
give
study,
kids.
yeah,
like
exactly.
You're gonna fucking give kids.
How are we
going
gonna
to
do long-term studies on something like this?
on children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
But-
of the biggest ones is birth control. It's an androgen that we've been giving to girls
To women, yeah.
for a long time.
Here it's in our drinking water.
Don't listen.
I heard it's in there. It's
Don't
in-
listen to him. He believe. Yeah. Go
I
on,
heard
go.
that. What I hear? I think Alex Jones. I heard him say this. Could be wrong, but women are peeing in the toilets.
No, that is true.
And
No,
it's
dude, here.
I'm never wrong.
No, that is true.
All right,
Yes.
then you're
So this
saying-
is the weird thing. Like this is okay. Look, I'm not gonna. This is not me advocating for Alex Jones in any way. Okay, but like a lot of the stuff he did early on, like when he was talking about George Bush and the corruption and shit over there,
Oh.
like he was fucking
Spot on.
spot on
For sure.
And so like now he's completely ruined his name with every piece of shit thing that he's done. But like shit like that. So women for decades and decades now have been taking hormones, have been peeing it into the our water treat. When you treat water, like it's not going to filter out every bit of that drug, so that it's in the water that men drink. Wow. It's one of the theories.
Is that confirmed? Like in the tap water, there's birth
it's
control.
like okay, but if you're drinking tap water for 30 years, what happens? It's not.
They can't filter out all of the elements
like-
of the birth control.
It's so interesting.
I don't know. Well, I drink from a Berkey anyway.
How funny is it that the human brain, like we can only process things like really directly in front of us and like really directly behind us.
Only believe
But
it. Have to
if
see to believe
we
it.
combine 10,000 micro efforts, it makes us who we are. That's the craziest shit. That's where like, have you ever seen someone in jiu-jitsu who's just like bad? And then like 5 years later, they're fucking amazing because they just like keep doing it and 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 doing it. And then they just get this system down and they're like, next thing they know, it's like how they fucking breathe. It's like how they play. It's just like,
Dude, honestly, that's Jay. Jay, I feel like I remember the first time we trained and I just obliterated you. And then that was like 2 years ago. And now he fucking kicks my ass.
and that's
Like,
only
Jesus
2
Christ.
years. I'm talking like a decade. Imagine getting good sleep, like perfect sleep for one straight decade.
It could be trash.
It's not
gains.
a.
I switched
it's-
sports.
Yeah, it's we can never process like the things in the way distance. So you drink fucking, water with a tiny fragment of birth control in it for 30 years. It's much different than if you have a cup of it, now.
Damn, that's probably right. You're almost trans. That's because you're water.
I had higher testosterone than you.
No, you didn't. Not
Yeah,
this
I did.
most recent test. I was
Not
like
this most recent
I was like
one.
800.
Yeah, your first one was like 700. And I had trained before my blood
All right,
test.
check this out.
My test was over 810. I
That's
forget what
good.
it was.
That's
It
real
was
good.
over 810, but I trained right before too.
Yeah, I had a blood test before. My test was like 711, and then
711?
for the Derek one, I busted a nut before, and I had higher tests.
So
It
you
was like,
cheated. You cheated it.
I busted up before that test, and I had like 100. It was like 100 points higher, like 811.
Yeah. You had 8 hours of sleep before that too, huh?
Yeah, good sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
I think his test would be even higher if he stopped smoking as much.
Oh, I think that's a thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Right? That's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I smoke weed to put me at a deficit, so practice is harder.
No,
so,
no,
I'm,
no, no, no.
so when I don't, I'm fucking on.
Oh, you smoke before practice?
A lot of
All
times.
Every
day,
time?
day.
I mean, like Yep.
Every day.
Is it hard to warm up? But once you get warm, you're like
that is the warm up.
But I mean, like, so is it hard to like? I couldn't smoke.
For me, the mix of adrenaline and THC, like that combination it's fantastic.
I feel like the initial like I'm stoned thing would be hard to get past, but once you get past it, I'm sure you feel like you can just flow for fucking ever. You can just do a 25-minute round and like not even fucking care.
I definitely feel like my training, like when I used to I don't smoke anymore, but when I used to, training was definitely a lot more fun. I was flowing. I could go for fucking hours.
Yeah.
But it was definitely hard for me to retain new concepts.
Yeah, it's not the best for learning, but to tell yourself that you're not tired and go train again, it's great for it.
That's why I would do it.
Yeah.
Dude, I was having like fucking 3-4 sessions a day, and it's like my body's so tired, and I'm conscious of how tired I am.
Yeah.
But if I smoked, I wouldn't even think about it. I'm
you're
like, okay,
just like
time to go to the next
go.
session. Time to go to the next session. Time to go to this one.
Yeah, I microdosed mushrooms one time before training on the mats.
How was that?
I've done that as well.
It was awesome. And I remember I did like a 25-minute round with Cody.
Oh shit, with Cody.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
an
Cody
animal.
he obviously fucks me up, but like he was just flowing. Like we were just wrestling.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It was so fun. I was like, oh, look at the times. We've been going for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Gundo took a big mushroom today, and
Today,
yeah, and
See, that's dangerous.
he wasn't even training. He's just like working,
Cleaning the
front desk.
mats.
Yeah. I come back to him like 20, 30 minutes later, and I'm like, "How do you feel?" He's like, "I feel like I could fuck Nicky Ryan up."
Okay, I want to ask you guys some questions. Like, so Craig, I just saw a video of Craig's foot being able to like. So can he just not get strain ankled?
He's got ballerina toes.
But I mean, like, if I like got him in like the tightest possible, and he lets me get into it, like, would I be able to submit him
for sure.
with a straight ankle?
For,
Okay.
Everyone's human, you know.
But
You
like,
just-
some people just don't tap to straight ankles.
Well,
They
some
can just
people
get
also
broken.
let their legs
Yeah.
break, and then
Yeah.
like, fuck, that was a bad decision.
Yes, yeah, especially a toe hold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Touche.
Nicky Rod's like, fuck.
I got
Not
someone.
again.
I cracked someone's foot with a toe hold, and he didn't even know. Like, he's like, toe hold, schmo hold doesn't
Comes
work.
on fast.
Oh shit.
And I was like, "What have I done? I'm so sorry."
Yeah,
know, I was
you'll
like,
get over that.
"Fuck." Yeah, well, if it's Gordon, it's a different deal. I mean, I imagine you're like,
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
you know. But for me, it was like my favorite training partner. I love this guy. You know.
Can't break your toys.
In training, in training, I feel.
Cannot break your toys.
You gotta use that own concept.
They tell me all the time.
Bro,
Yeah.
this guy's always hurting people.
I would.
Actually,
I'm the
dude,
one-
The
look at my
thing,
lip, I'm the
the
one
thing
hurt.
is, like, I feel like for you, you would love me as a training partner because I'm the same weight, but you would be able to fuck me up. So it'd be like, oh, here's another rep with someone my size. You know, so
Yeah.
my size, similar strength. Like, I can just gonna fuck this guy up. I would just be a rag doll. That's what people.
You think you're similar strength?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you weigh?
Like 235.
Yeah, that's good weight.
Yeah.
You want to arm wrestle?
So that's what I realized what was happening at Brazilian Fight Factory is like when guys wanted to get in shape, they'd be like, "Yeah, Zach, come on, let's go." I was just a fucking
Can we
rag
touch
doll. for
back?
them.
So who's stronger? Who's stronger?
I mean, are you talking about like
In the gym, there's no way you're stronger than me.
in the
There's
gym?
no way.
Which gym? Where's the gym at?
Which gym do I have?
Like the weight room. The weight room.
In the weight room. I mean,
The
what
weight room.
exercise are we doing? Are we doing like deadlifts or are we doing
Deadlift.
like curls?
Okay, well,
Like,
you can't
the important shit.
Okay, important shit. You're gonna get me. Fine. The important, the curls.
How
the
many pull-ups can you
triceps.
do? That matters.
Okay, that's probably you could get me there probably.
Bro, I'm winning
Yeah.
2 for 3.
Yeah, okay. Deadlift,
But
squat,
deadlift's a big
front
one.
squat,
That's a
Huge.
big one. How much can you
Clean.
get?
Someone up.
jerk,
Jerk.
push press.
I mean, I could do it. We probably have the same warm-up weight.
yes, yes.
So how much can you deadlift?
660. It's not bad.
You got
You
back
break your
issues?
back with
How's your back?
660.
Dude, obviously, if you train too hard, you're gonna fuck your back up. This is what I was talking to you guys about earlier with when I trained the
BFF
boys
guys.
at BFF. It's a great segue because I think for people listening, watching, like I like came into my own when I started training these dudes and like kind of realized quickly like the system to get what you want as a jiu-jitsu player and you want to get in the weight room. I found that like getting stronger is the move, right? So use compound movements to get stronger, and then take that muscle and potentially try to get some fluff, like get it bigger. So this is where the NickyRod sets would actually be fantastic, right? Like, so sets of 20 would be great for jiu-jitsu, but you just want to be able to be more efficient in jiu-jitsu at any time. Wrestling is ground-based, so you want to be able to be more efficient in getting your force into somebody or being able to take their force and do something with it. So the best way to do that is get strong so that you can use less effort to produce the same amount of force. So like, you know, if you do like a throw by and you have someone's waist and you pick them up and or like suplex or some sort of toss, some sort of throw, it's going to take less effort for you to manipulate that person's body weight because you're stronger. So less effort means more reps, more volume of training, more. That's all. And like I said earlier, like your goal should be to be able to do more longer, because whoever can do more longer is going to win almost every single time.
This was my training split, right? For the whole time I was bodybuilding, right? For like 7 years, this is what I did. Did 6 to 8 exercises every day, 4 sets of 20, and I do 3 days a week. Would be buys and tries. Buys, that's 3 days, right? I do a day of back, a day of legs, day of chest, and probably another back day. And I would just repeat that. Right?
Look, that's okay. Like any split, it doesn't really matter how you split and what reps you do. It's all about like mental acuity. So say Andrew comes into the gym. Andrew and William come into the gym. They've already done a session on the mats. They're already kind of like dragging it. They walk in, you know, with their flip flops, just walking in. I'm like, okay, well, I got to get them going somehow. I'm not going to take them through a warm up that's like really difficult and it takes so much direction. Like, because they're just going to be like, fuck, I got to learn another thing, do whatever. I'm going to take them on a warm up that like gets them excited. And then let's say we do back squats. I'm going to guide them through this back squat warm up that's specific and have them build weight and build weight and build weight. And they're not going to feel like they're getting buried with heavy weight. They are going to feel charged up. Like the energy in the room when you're doing specific drilling, like it kind of builds and builds and builds and builds, and then next thing you know, you're fucking going after each other because everyone's so warm. I do the same thing in the weight room, so that's how we just build squats. Then next thing we know, we're going heavy, and we're doing good quality sets in the squat. We finish with that squat workout that took like 40 minutes. Then we do like 15 to 20 minutes max of accessories. So lunges, hamstring curls, quad extensions, and that's our quote unquote leg day. It's about as simple as it gets. But what I've realized is with guys that train super hard on the mats, you need the mental acuity and you need to pick your battles. Like there's no way I can get you in here and like teach you the intricacies of all these things. And if I give you 10 exercises, that's not going to be as effective as if I can give you 5 exercises, because I have to stop you, direct you, and do another thing, you know? And every time I stop the energy in the room, it gives them an excuse to drag ass again.
Yeah, I've, as a professional athlete, I've worked with a bunch of different trainers, and a common theme is sometimes they don't understand exactly how hard we train in the gym, like in jiu-jitsu practice. Then when it comes to the weightlifting, whether it be CrossFit or whatever, maybe they're pushing us like as we were a fresh athlete, right? Not like I just fought for an hour.
So I might have done the same thing if I didn't know how hard it was to train, because I was on the mats. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't on the mats as much as them, and I was still fucking tired as shit. So I couldn't imagine. You know, so that's what I said. I was like, I totally hear you on that. And especially someone sees, Nicky Rod's coming in to do a session with me. Yeah. I got to show him I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm going to kick his ass. It's like, bro, he doesn't need his ass kicked. Yeah. You know?
Bro, and when we were living in Puerto Rico, my first session was with my guy Bella from Puerto Rico, right? Awesome trainer, had a bunch of tons of fun training with him. But the first day we met, he was like, all right, I'm gonna need you. He puts, you know, two 45s on the bar, or 45 on each side. And it's like, all right, give me 100 squats in under 8 minutes, or I'm sorry, under 10 minutes. And I was like, fuck, all right. So that was like how we opened up. And obviously every workout after that was like definitely easier, but you know, they definitely want to make their point, you know.
Yeah. So here, I'll give you the leg day work or lower body workout. We always did it on Mondays. It was 5 sets of 3 on back squat, and it would take almost, so like that would be the last 15 minutes. It would take 40 minutes to get that part done. 5 sets of 3 done. But I would build up to that 5 sets of 3, finish the 5 sets of 3. Then it would be 3 sets of 10 to 20 of accessories, maybe 2 accessories, and then you're out the fucking gym. I'm not wasting your time. I'm not letting you think. We'll work, you're out. And then we would do the same thing on the next day would be, let's say like deadlift and then overhead and overhead push and overhead pull. So that would be deadlift. That was my favorite split. Deadlift, overhead press, and pull-ups. We would do weighted pull-ups. And then the final day, we would do we would lay off the body, like the lower body, the intensive stuff, because it's a whole week accumulated of training on the mats. So it's more like fluff stuff, but it would be horizontal push, horizontal pull. So you mix vertical push with vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull. Just make sure you get those in, especially as a jiu-jitsu athlete. Like it's imperative that you learn how to pull and push and pull and push up above overhead. And like I would split that up in some way, but every session was the same thing. Build, 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 accessories out. Build, 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 accessories out. Because I couldn't handle trying to be specific and doing all this shit. Like, how does that translate to the mats? Like, bitch, I'm just getting them stronger. Like, I saw a video, and like, I'm a huge Lucas Lepre fan. I think he's fucking amazing. But he was working with a strength and conditioning guy, and he had him doing banded X guard, like put a band on his hips and was like swinging in and like going into X guard. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you get enough reps on the mats. Like, we don't need to get you stronger at doing X guard. Like, just get you generally stronger. Let's separate the two. You know?
I feel like the 20 reps or even 100 reps, I feel like that's not good specifically for me, because it's like I cannot get any bigger. Like for MMA, I need to fight.
So
at
that was
135.
I ran into that problem with Cody.
Yeah. I try to not want to
at
get
some
any bigger.
point, I just kind of stopped working with Cody.
That's what I should do. Just stop.
I'm not even like, because his weight cut was just getting insane. Like, dude, I got Cody fucked up strong. Like, it was crazy. He did a double deadlift at 440. Like, for a kid that size is crazy. He cleaned 137 kilos, which is 300 pounds. Like, I've
Cleaned?
never
fuck?
Yeah, he cleaned 300 pounds. I have video of it on my Instagram.
Holy shit.
And I put his clean, and then there was the throw he had against it was on
the trials maybe.
Third Coast throw. No, not the trials one.
Oh, Edwin Najmi. I know.
Yes,
you're talking
Najmi,
about.
the
Yeah,
Najmi
Third
throw.
Coast.
I was there for that too, and we were in the weight room. He did the clean and then fucking threw the bitch, and I was like, all right, this is why we do what we do.
Sick.
But he was like, dude, I just like can't lift, because like if I consume protein and I'm like growing muscle, like that's just more shit that I have to deal with when I cut. And I'm like, fuck. That was where I was like, well, you're probably right. Like, you can come into the gym and like jump with a barbell on your back if you want, but
like, I want to get stronger. So I mean, I just started lifting again, or doing strength training recently, and it's like all my lifts are 5 reps or like less.
Here's the thing: hypertrophy happens at everything. So I could make you do 1 reps and you would get bigger.
Really?
Yes. It's more likely and it's less stressful with higher reps.
Okay.
So like, because you can build up metabolites throughout a larger set. Like it's you can feel it happening. You know, on your 10th rep, you're like, okay, I'm going to go 10 more. You could feel it burning. If you stop, you're missing out on potential hypertrophy.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah,
love
right.
The burn.
Well, you're a super or ultra, right?
I'm
Or-
ultra heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
Yeah,
get-
so you can get bigger.
yeah,
if you want, but it also would limit
cardio is very important as
Exactly,
well.
obviously. So it's a game that you play, but you don't have to worry about cutting the same way that he would.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you worked with me and I got you stronger, you would run into the exact same problem with Cody, no matter what I would give you. So you for someone like yourself, you have to have a very serious off season and a very serious in season where you would determine, okay, I'm going to get bigger here, and then I'm going to really lay off and try and get my weight back down. And you're going to try and hold on to that potential muscle without gaining any muscle while you're cutting. And that is the true weight class warrior sport. Like that is what it's all about. It's like
Interesting.
It's like picking when and where you want to do something and knowing that you don't have to make weight. Dude, if you have to make weight all year round like Cody does, which you're going to have to do if you want to be a pro fighter,
that's the thing.
you got to make weight all fucking year long. You can't just take your time off. It's like, well, getting strong is probably not the move right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I'll go pro in August. I'll in 6 months
For Fury.
For Fury,
That's
yeah. I'll
so
look
sick,
to
dude.
get
Congrats. That's cool.
like. Yeah, no problem. Thank. Yeah, thank you.
That's all right.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But I'll have. My goal is to get 3 fights in by the end of the year, and then fight 5 times a year in 2024. So it's like, I'm not trying to cut more weight than's necessary.
Yeah.
So, shit, I don't know. I'm fucked, huh? That's why I wasn't lifting. It was a smart decision. I can't get big. These guys were
You
all
can.
big.
You used to be big. This guy used to be fat.
I used to be
Like a
fat.
goddamn pancake.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I was fat. I was like 190, 195 before I did jiu-jitsu. So basically, I was like, I played football and
He
lacrosse.
was working
actually.
at a Twinkie factory.
No. So I played football and lacrosse in high school. Then when I went to college, I just completely stopped like all athletics and was just eating the same thing that I was eating in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for about, I don't know, maybe 6 months it was from out of high school to then starting college, I found jiu-jitsu, and then I gained a shit ton of weight, like probably like maybe 20 pounds, but of fat. Yeah, it was bad.
Fluff.
20, 30 pounds. Yeah, it was rough.
Bulk
And
and
I
pro
lost it pretty quickly.
Oh, quickly, yeah.
Dude, you
Yeah, I
ever been
lost it super
shredded?
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
He's
just
like, he's like, dude, look at me now.
when I looked shredded, I just also looked skinny.
Were you weaker?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
We're always trying to find the balance between looks and strength, you know? Because, like, fat guys are strong. Or stronger, usually.
Right. Yeah.
But when you're shredded, it just looks
It's
better.
better.
Yeah.
Man,
A lot of it's
Did you
just genetic. What's going to happen? Like, if you care about looks, like probably it's the wrong thing to care about. When wins are what people care about.
But when I was lifting, like, as a bodybuilder, I only lifted for looks. I didn't care.
Right.
Like, I mean, getting stronger, it happened. But I was like, if I have 20-inch biceps, I mean, this is gonna be fantastic.
do you guys ever cut weight? Do you guys ever have to cut weight?
Yeah, I cut weight.
Yeah,
My first
I cut
time,
weight for jiu-jitsu twice.
Like,
my first time ever
Which is
cutting
not much,
weight.
but-
I pull up to my first high school like tournament. Right, you had to get to the school like 5 a.m. I pull up, check my weight. I'm 3 pounds over. It's an hour bus drive. Coach is like, take 5 of these jackets. You're gonna jog in place till we get there. I jogged in place with like a bunch of jackets on.
lost it?
I lost 5 pounds. I weighed
Oh.
like 2 pounds under.
Dude, that's not even a shocking story when you think about what wrestling, like the fucking wrestlers
jogged in
do.
place and lost 5 pounds.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I mean, just like hold on. No, it's crazy, but I'm saying it's not shocking that you would do something like that. Like I've heard the most fucked weight cutting stories. Like cutting weight is just the most insane concept ever. Like it's so. I think. I kind of like the way that IBJJF does it. You step on the scale and you just stay in the bullpen and you're just like, that's when you go. I personally think that's how all weight cuts should go. Like 24-hour weight cut means like, oh, I can kill myself because I have 24 hours to recover. Like that's not okay. That's really fucked up to do to people in Olympic weightlifting and in Olympic weightlifting, I believe in like Olympic wrestling or something, it's 2 hours.
yeah, that's high school wrestling. 2 hours. High
2
school,
hours.
college.
And then IBJJF, I thought it was 2 hours. Like, no, dude, you fucking step on the scale and then you
you're
stay in the
right on
bullpen.
there, yeah.
So like if you're dehydrated, like you're fucked, So it enforces people to just be close to your weight class. But that's just not a thing. It's just not, and it won't be a thing. And like I think I've heard this, but that's why Khabib kind of got out when he did was his weight cut. I've heard was absolutely insane.
Yeah, he was walking around like 200 or a little over 200, and you cut to 55.
He going up a little bit. How short is he?
I'm not
Too
sure.
short to move up?
55 or 70.
Yeah.
Like,
And
do
that's
we
a big jump.
consider that like pro fighters just like being like, it's not the fight that I have to worry about always. It's this cut. Like what it does to your mind.
There's just so many jumps in weight classes. Like every 10 pounds would be, be much easier as a fighter, and you have more options. Different styles clash.
But what if you have so like that's the
Even
thing is like
5,
you
I
think
think
you can
5.
go up, right? But then you have a 200-pound guy coming down.
Yeah.
And you're
that's
like,
the problem.
now I'm scared shitless of a guy who's actually got mass. It's just
Because now you're 6'2" and you're making 170.
Dude,
It's
Volk was 180, cutting to 45.
yeah, wow.
Jacked, man.
But he also was are you talking Volkanovski? Yeah, he was a prop though. Like he got all the way up to 100 kilos body weight.
Yeah, he was like
playing.
214.
And he's like
apparently.
what, 5'6" or 5'7"?
Yeah, 5'6", something
Yeah.
like that.
That dude's
That's
a
so
fucking
crazy.
dog, dude. Craig's
Oh,
got a
he
good
loves it.
friend. That's
Fuck, man.
that's cool as hell. Did you
He's
guys
a
get to
beast.
meet him or
I never met him, but man, I'm a fan of his fighting, man. What a fucking animal.
an absolute dog? And just not from the martial arts background, just a sick fuck who played rugby.
Yeah.
Like
no
that's
quit.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's fucking
being put
crazy.
in a triangle and like being like black in the face and just being like, nah. And then the dude gets too tired from holding a triangle and like, let's go. And you win that fight. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the coolest shit
Yeah,
ever.
with
kind of
with
humans.
Ortega, he was in the guillotine, was trying the guillotine escapes, but just wasn't getting out, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna tap to
Oh, I
this."
thought it was a triangle.
That was a guillotine. Guillotine.
I thought it was
yeah.
a few
Well,
different.
there's a few submissions. There's a few
twice,
submissions.
yeah,
a few submissions.
Dude,
That's so crazy.
Every time Craig has
who
been.
is
Go ahead, you first.
who's impossible to guillotine?
Nicky
Nicky
Rod.
Ryan. Oh, you said Nicky Rod?
Yeah.
Nicky Rod. JayRod.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at getting fucked up.
I taught him the guillotine defense.
William-
Nicky
and
Ryan
then
taught me.
and then Nicky
Liam-
Ryan
William-
No, what about
reinforced
Liam Crelinsten?
it. Liam,
No.
we were drilling.
No, I
We
was
were
playing.
drilling.
But Nicky Ryan's actually incredibly hard.
Yeah.
So like, okay, again though, if you get a fully locked up guillotine, he lets you get it. Is he gonna?
Yo,
Dude,
chances
you
are
get
you're
out.
not. Chances are you're not getting.
Are you
chances
fucking
not
serious?
I'm gonna get out every
You'll-
time. I'll get
you'll-
out.
He'll get strangled unconscious.
You'll
Okay.
get strangled unconscious
Nicky
by
Ryan-
watching me
or-
get out.
Wait. So I'm saying like, take a pretty experienced jiu-jitsu guy. Pretty
Nicky
experienced.
Ryan is good enough. You take just about anybody in the world, put a proper arm in a guillotine.
The
off.
legs around.
Doesn't matter.
Bro.
Nicky Ryan will get out.
I got out of fucking the guy for this.
John Combs.
No, not John Combs.
Well, I was gonna say John Combs is very good.
John Combs
Fuck,
got
what's his
William,
name?
and I've never seen William submit to one before he got
good
William.
name.
In a
William was
event?
like 16.
ADCC.
Yeah.
ADCC. The guy I fought. ADCC.
What?
Pedro.
By the way,
Pedro.
your
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
was that was.
I got
awesome,
out,
dude.
like,
This
3
is the
or 4
coolest
times.
fucking shit ever. We should not forget about your ADCC run. That shit was sick. Okay,
Yeah, that's
go on.
sick.
3 or 4 times I got out of Pedro Moreno's guillotine.
Yeah, he's the guillotine guy.
He
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the guillotine guy.
Yeah.
And my guillotine escape is nowhere close to Nicky Ryan's.
Yeah,
Nicky
like-
Ryan is the fucking guy.
Bro,
Like,
anybody can lock it up on him, and he's getting out.
Yeah, like
I'm
Craig.
dog,
Craig.
bro.
Craig
Oh,
is on
that's
it.
you know how much of a superpower that is,
It-
right?
it literally
Because you could just shoot.
You can just
Yes.
shoot. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're no fear not fearful of defending.
That's why I
nothing,
hate
you know?
jujitsu. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stay away from your legs so you can't grab my neck. Because it's just
Yeah.
like
Knowledge
I
is
die.
power, bro. The second you get that proper guillotine defense, you're offensive all day.
Dude, you were making
You can
fun
just
of me
die
the-
for
the
people's
other day.
legs and
Why?
be like, go for my neck
In a
bitch.
good way. Yeah, for sure.
Go for
If-
it. Yeah. Go get this guillotine.
Like if
you know?
somebody goes
That's
for
like
my
a
neck,
superpower. That really is. It's like I remember the first day I walked into jiu-jitsu, the first day I'm like, when someone gets my head, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Please help me. Because this
get
is
up
like,
in there, shake them off, bro.
The other day there was a visitor.
look at your
coming
guys'
in.
ears too. You guys have been defending fucking guillotines your whole lives.
This is
basically.
only from jujitsu. I've been wrestling for so long. I never got cauliflower, and I only got it when I started
That's
jujitsu.
probably because they're just grabbing your head more, right?
Yep.
You're just fighting out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, last week there's a visitor. I'm wrestling with him, and I'm taking him down a bunch because I'm focusing on the wrestling and shit. And then Jay's like, dude, like you got to step it up. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I took this guy like a million times. I took him down a million times, and he's like, he's getting so many guillotines on you. I'm like, I'm escaping every single one. Dude.
I
Like,
don't think you understand how bored I am sitting there watching you guys train every day. I
You have been coming in
nothing to
every
do.
day.
So
That's good, that's sick.
and so you're like, I want to just see people die, kind of shit.
Yeah,
You're just
I
like, I'm
just-
bored. Like,
I
I want
just
to see
like
weird
talking
shit
shit.
happen.
You can learn by watching too. You know.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you come back.
But-
I think you get a lot better, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Like,
bet you.
We'll see. We'll see.
When I was hurt, I came and watched every day, and I think it's a good idea that you're doing it too.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're
And
gonna be looking at shit. Yeah.
And like you're gonna feel fucking amazing, but then build up the training, build up the fatigue, then you're gonna just feel right back where you were before. That comeback's gonna be so sick.
I'm cleared to do rowing, and we have a rowing machine here, so I'll probably do that.
You're gonna feel great
into
until
those intervals, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cool thing you can do on any of those machines is like get your stats, like figure out and then have this little game with yourself.
Oh,
what you
yes.
want to win, what you want
to beat
and
those
like,
things.
Yeah, and that can get you in like crazy shape, especially for fighting too. Like just make a game of it. I used to do this with William and Andrew, and we would do 40, 30, 20, 10 calories on the bike, one on, one off, and assault bike. And it's like you can make it as hard as you want, but we have these stipulations where the RPMs have to be in a certain place. So you cannot let the RPMs go lower. And so you have to keep them up there. And so like by the 10 one, you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to send it. And your heart rate is like absolutely blasted through the roof. And it's so beneficial for jiu-jitsu because like a lot of guys, and this is something that Jason Khalipa said. Do you know who Jason Khalipa is?
Yeah. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah. He said this. He's like, the more efficient you get and the better you get, the less likely you are to jack your heart rate up. So you never really train in that high end. So like say you're fighting someone tough, then your heart rate gets up high. Well, you're not used to it because you're not hitting that because you're too good. You know, so you need to find those ways to kill yourself or to kill your cardiovascular thing. It's obviously something I wouldn't have to worry about being a shitty, inefficient blue belt. You know,
no, I can relate to this because sometimes in practice I either have to. Like depending on the guys I'm training with, sometimes I have to say, all right, today I'm gonna go hard as fuck. I'm just gonna sub them as much as I can, or I'm gonna do this specific sequence as many times as possible so I can redline. And if that's not good enough, then I'll go to the CrossFit after practice and I'll kill myself. I'm like, let's get closer to death today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, if you went as hard as you want on me, like I don't think it would be good in getting you to redline because you would just submit me in like 2 seconds. You'd be like jogging through it. You would have to like tie your fucking hands behind your back or some shit.
Put somebody
like
on my back, my shoulders.
Yeah, but like I think shark tanking is like usually the typical way of fucking someone up if they need it.
When I do it, they call it orca tanking.
Have you done the assault bike and then trained?
Like, another thing you could do too is just like run sprints and then have a fresh body come in. Did you guys ever do like burpees, do something fucked up, like do crazy shit and then go, all right, go fight, and you have a fresh body against you? That's just Redline City, dude.
In Muay Thai, we did the assault bike and then sparred. That's
great.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But you said you were doing 40 calories in a minute?
No, not well. Yeah, if you did 40 calories in a minute, you're dead.
Dude, I was
you
fucking
die.
exhausted.
Yeah, you die. But like the idea is to like get somewhere where it's hard, and then you rest, and you're still not recovered, and you get back on the bike, and you still sprint again. But 40, 30, 20, 10, you go, I go.
What is 40, 30? Like
calories.
In 1 minute? Or you just get to 40
just
calories?
get to 40.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
so you do 40, I do 40. You do 30, I do 30. It's a great workout.
Can you do a calorie a row?
You could do row.
No, I'm saying you personally. Can you do a calorie a row?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, row. I love rowing.
I don't row. But with the fucking assault
I could
bike,
do 2.
with the assault bike, we did 40. We did 1 minute sprint. I think I got to like 36 calories. But then when I went to go spar, I've never been that tired. Is the thing because like in jiu-jitsu,
Here's why. It's only concentric movement, so there's no eccentric cost of it. So if you think about like
what is eccentric and concentric?
You can like coach
I'm going to explain it to you.
Yeah,
so
Simple Man podcast.
Yeah. so like if you're doing a squat, the eccentric cost is really high. Like you have to get down to the spot first. You're using actually more muscle fibers. You're more efficient on the way down on something because it's just like you can produce more force like that. So people do slow eccentric sometimes, and that's a way of getting more out of your training. The cost of that is really hard. So when you die doing squats, you're going to die because you're working on the way down and you're working on the way up. When you're on the bike, there is no downward work. It's just push. And you just don't stop pushing. So you might get tired, but you think, well, I can still push again, right? Yeah. I can push again. So you just never stop. And it kills people. It absolutely, dude, the bike, you put anyone on the bike and you tell them to do 30 calories as hard as they can, it will absolutely flatten them because there's no like limit.
Do you think training your specifically your cardiovascular system every day, it's a bad thing. Like if you're like, all right, I'm gonna go train hard as fuck, and then I'm gonna redline after practice every single day.
No. It's the same. No, redlining is the same thing as maximal training. You have to be smart about it. So like, I don't mind maximal training if you're an athlete. Like, I don't mind it at all. In fact, I think it's beneficial, and I can argue that it's necessary. It's the same thing with redline training. Like, don't redline every day, because you need time to recover from that. Your cardiovascular system is a muscle
bigger,
as well.
Right?
Yeah, it's just gonna get better and more efficient at pumping blood through you. Yeah. So like, let it recover. So what I've found too is like, I said more training is better, and this is gonna kind of contradict that, but like, more efficient training is better. And so sometimes less training in certain ways where you're like, okay, I want to go hard today. This is where I'm going to make my adaptation. Okay, what's the cost of that? So if you go hard as fuck today, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to the gym again, literally the following day, and you're like, I'm going to go hard as fuck today, you're never taking into that the
You're
cost.
not recovering.
Yeah, you're never recovering.
Yeah.
And so, like, the better you get, like, you just have to have those days where you're like, I'm going to fucking kill it.
But how do CrossFit guys do it? Because most of their workouts, you have a 10-minute window or so that you're going fucking hard.
So the best, I'm friends with one CrossFitter who's pretty elite. His name's Brent Fikowski. Mm-hmm. And, like, you can put it this simply, like, you're just coasting the whole time, and you pick your days when you want to kill yourself. It's the same thing in any sport. Like, you don't just go into the gym and just, like, and die. Like,
you think, you think guys like that, how many days a week do you think they're like, today's the day?
Probably twice or 3 times a week, you know, but they'll train anywhere from 7 to 10 times a week, similar to you guys.
They'll train every day.
Yeah.
Like, no days off.
But, like, no days off, but they'll get on the bike and do, like, intervals. You know, like, that's a day off.
Like a lighter training session.
Yeah, like, you could think...
Training for recovery instead of, like...
You could separate it into this, like, training, but then adaptation. So that's when when people think training, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make some sort of adaptation today. Okay, fine. That's fine. Go do that. But there's this thing. It's like, here's your training, here's your recovery. So your baseline is higher. You need to give yourself time to recover. You can train every day, but you can't make adaptations every day. So where are you picking your days to fucking max out? And that's fine. Like, figure it out. I think what's cool is some gyms, some jiu-jitsu gyms are like, all right, today's competition day, quote unquote, for our gym. So like, we're going to have light sparring, learning, some good specific, and then today we're doing rounds, bitch, and we're going to fight. Like, that's cool to do stuff like that.
I used to structure my training, like, because when I started training jiu-jitsu at Hensel Gracie, like with DDS and stuff, I had like no technique. So I went into like a super high level room with just almost no knowledge. So I had to structure my training. I would be like, all right, every day I don't train with like Gordon or Craig, that's like a rest day. So I pick those days to go hard versus, you know, try to get a little bit better.
Did you do that just naturally thinking about it? Like, or did you like, you would be like, I need a break?
Well, I'd feel my body. I'm like, because if I'm going with Gordon or Craig, I'm going to try to kill them. So I was like, all right, this whole day I'm going to smash. And the other days I'm going to train for, you know, for progress.
You don't take any days off now, do you?
No, but I sleep real well, and so I take nights off.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's really unless there's like
that's a canned answer right there.
Yeah. Unless there's like an injury, like medical thing, or maybe travel that day, it's like pretty rare that we take days off, like B team guys. I feel like.
So what are your Sundays then like?
Sundays, like tomorrow I have sparring. Muay Thai
you guys
sparring.
all go to 10th Planet?
Well,
no, they go to.
We'll
10th
either go
Planet.
to 10P or have a private session at B team. But yeah, train every day.
But is it like, what's your kind of just like, we're gonna just move today?
Well, I mean, I definitely have a pace that I'll keep. Like, pretty much every day I'll probably do 30 minutes of like competition rounds, but I'll do an additional 30 minutes of maybe I'm training for specific movements, specific sequences.
Yeah.
And then there's other days where 60 minutes of competition rounds.
Did you guys, when you were doing DDS shit, because I know, like, and again, I could be wrong about this, but what's his name? Like, one of the goats in the gi, the Gracie.
Marigali?
No.
Gracie and Hensel.
Yeah. I can't even think of his first name.
Travis
It's like
Stevens?
my favorite fucking Gracie.
Henzo.
No.
Hodger.
Hodger.
Oh, Hodger.
So like Hodger's big thing was like, I don't really spar too hard. I just do specific. Like I'll just put myself.
Only train to kill. There's no other way. I can't.
But like putting yourself in shit situations and working to get out. Right.
Yeah.
So like isn't that how you guys at DDS, like you just really, you're like, wait, Hodger's doing this. Why don't we just do this all the fucking time? Like get yourself in the worst spot and like fight to get the fuck out and like use technique.
I think the idea behind that is just that if we have a rock solid defense, it makes being offensive so much easier because you're like, if I end up in the bad spot, I fail this choke or whatever, I'm on bottom, I'm going to get out, going to get back on top and offensive again.
Yeah,
also,
I don't know that came from Hodger. That's where John got it from.
I have
Hodger?
no idea.
I have no idea. That was always a philosophy. Yeah, it's like for example, like the guillotine escapes. Like if you're rock solid on your guillotine escapes, you're comfortable shooting a double, being in a guillotine because you know you're gonna get out on the ground, and it's like you're not worried about getting out of the guillotine.
Did you guys see the guillotine or the double that William shot at ADCC Trials against?
Varela? Was it Varela? Andy?
Yeah, dude, and he
so.
almost
He was in a
died.
head and arm. Yeah, he was in a head and arm for a while.
Did you watch?
And like that was going to be the one where like William was going to tap, and he got out and he won, and it was insane.
Dude, that's sick.
It might not have been Varela. It might have been that Fight Sports guy with the long curly hair. He's like pretty jacked.
No clue. I thought it was Varela.
Did you watch Andrew and this guy's match?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Crazy.
Epic match. One of the best ones of the tournament.
I mean, I saw the one you guys did at Third Coast. I was at that one.
Fuck that one.
Yeah.
That one was rough.
past.
That was brutal. They're like, we're doing Golden Point after 45 minutes of work.
How can you? That's terrible
that
way
is-
to run a business. Say, all right, we're gonna have no time limit.
This is
and then
boring.
mid-match
Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, well,
Yeah, it was
time limit
55
was
minutes
useless.
or whatever, and then they were like golden score, and I was like, I had no idea because like at that time I had no actual wrestling, but I was working wrestle ups, so from guard, but I was standing and I had no idea if I was able to pull guard without getting a negative. Like I had no clue what to do, so I was trying to wrestle, and then they didn't say like we didn't discuss whether it was ADCC scoring, IBGF scoring, like what it was. So like Andrew picked me up and then threw me, but I was in like I was in turtle, but like I had one knee on the ground. I was thinking like ADCC scoring or whatever, and then they considered that a point. And I was like, I have no idea
And that
what's
was it?
going on.
That was it, yeah.
And I was like, shit. Well, and I was so pissed because like I had no idea what the fuck to do there.
yeah.
I didn't know if I could pull. If I could pull, I would have tried to wrestle up. But Andrew's a fucking killer, man. He's too big now. He's like 180, 190.
So that was one of the guys
Actually, no,
that I worked with that I feel like, okay, what I'm doing is right. Seriously, that was one of the guys where I'm like, all right. So he came in and his back was really messed up as a 16-year-old or 17.
Like
however-
lower back, upper back.
Yeah, his lower back was
back,
messed up, and he's like scared of the weight room. He's like, Zach, I don't want to do anything too bad. I'm like, just ease up, dude. Okay, if you can deadlift this barbell properly tomorrow or a week from now, you can deadlift this barbell plus 5 pounds. Okay, let's just run the clock forward 2 years from now. Your back's gonna be amazing. Sure as shit. In I think it was like almost a year on the dot from that moment when he came in. He was doing 3 sets of 8 with 300 pound deadlift. I have video of it too. Wow. And he's like, my back's never felt better. And it's like that is the thing right there. People cannot see the scope of training to where they're like, nah, I don't do deadlifts because it hurts my back. I don't do back squats because it hurts my back. I'm like, well, where does it not hurt your back? We'll work on that, and let's just edge our way towards where it does, and we'll come back, and we'll keep going. It's like we have all the time in the fucking world here. But if you want to accomplish all this shit at the same time, you're going to be scared, and you're not going to want to do things. And then he just put on weight like crazy, and I have videos of him, man, like doing the craziest shit in the gym.
What's a common mistake you see people when they're deadlifting? Like, what's causing the issues?
So I'm not entirely. It's hard to learn how to get the whole chain like to fire at the same time, like to get everything going so that you just don't have this like miscommunication between segments. Mm-hmm. So like you pull off the ground and there's like a shock wave and there's looseness in your upper back, but tightness, like you could have this little jolting feeling in your low back. So the way that I fixed that for these guys and the way that I taught them was we're going to actually unrack the bar and then we're going to stand tall in a standing posture. We'll take a breath in from a standing posture and then we're going to lower under control and just tap the floor and then come back up. Similar to the way you would do a squat. if I had you get under a bar without the weight on you and you had to get under it, it would be really hard for you to tense up and stand. But if I put it on your back and you're in a standing position, everything's lit up and you can control the whole time. You're protecting your spine. You're protecting all these areas. And so that's what I did with Andrew. It was like, all right, we're just going to stay standing, posture the whole way, and stand up. And we just got better and better and better at that. And so like just have to find ways to work with people or like work with yourself to where you can like hack into getting more and more weight on the bar without injuring yourself.
Do you think something like squatting heavy is bad for your knees?
If you do it too quickly, yeah.
If you do it too quickly?
Yeah, like meaning like if you get to that heavy is a relative term. So
like you're not saying the speed in which you go up and down.
No,
Quickly.
getting to that heavy weight over time, right? So this is the thing. The dose makes the poison. Okay, so squats are not bad for your knees. Doing squats too much or too often or improperly, that's bad for your knees. So it has nothing to do with the actual thing itself. It's the amount. It's the way that you do it. It's the same thing like on the mats. Like a lot of times people get injured on the mats because they're doing too much too soon.
That's a good point.
You know, you have to build to that to be able to do 2-a-days and things like that. So with squats though, like my big thing is, and for anyone listening, like grab a kettlebell, grab a dumbbell, put it in your front so it's like attached to you. Learn how to get your hip crease noticeably below your knee crease. Get there, feel solid, and stand nice and smooth. If you can do 20 reps with, let's say, like a 35-pound kettlebell, you'll feel this pump in your legs. You'll feel strong. Build from there. And what you're doing is you're building from this position with the hip crease below the knee. You're building from this compromised position. You're getting stronger at that, and you're building from there. It's when people put 45s on the bar, they unrack, and they do this janky-ass back squat and then stand up. And they're like, God, that feels really shitty. I don't like it. I don't think back squatting's for me. It's like, well, because you didn't go through the process of like teaching your body how to fold up and stand. It's like learning guard in jiu-jitsu. If you can't get your knees back, like this is going to be hard as shit to teach you guys.
Yeah.
So there has to be some level of flexibility to be able to get your knees back here. You know, think about like your body lock pass. Like if you can't get your leg up and around,
Good point.
you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to learn how to get your joints in certain spaces before you can actually be like, oh, I want to do that pass. It's the same thing with back squats. You have to learn how to get your joints in spaces before you back squat, quote unquote, heavy.
When you're back squatting, can you go too low? Like we hear the term ass to
Ass to
grass. You
grass.
hear the term 90 degrees. Like what's the way?
A lot of it is going to be based, and this is going to sound like, again, giving too much to the athlete, but it's going to be based off of feel. Like if your knees are really far forward and your hip crease is just barely in line with your knees, like, yeah, you're really low, but think of the amount of torque and pressure on your fucking knees. Okay. If you're going to the ass to grass and your hips are really low, but your knees aren't traveling forward at all, it's likely you're going to be super round. Okay, what does that mean? You probably don't have robust enough back to posture up. You don't have, competent hips to be able to stand up. So it's all dependent on the person. Like probably you can't go too low, but it's how you get used to that. Like I think everyone, and especially jiu-jitsu guys, should be able to sit in a low squat comfortably.
I cannot do that. Yeah.
You can develop that though. You could. Absolutely you could. I did. I fucking did. I couldn't. It was like punishment for me to sit in a deep squat, and I taught myself to do it.
Now, how? Because I feel like, I have tight ankles and tight hips,
Yeah,
but my ankle mobility is shit.
So watch hold on to like an upright, something that's like, like a post or something. Yeah.
Pole, whatever.
Hold on to it. Get your hip crease below your knees. You'll feel like, oh my God, I'm going to fall
This
back,
sucks.
right? It's probably the same way you feel.
Yeah.
So slowly just sink into that. Push past the pain a little bit. Let your knees compress. Let your hips compress. Slowly but surely, you'll be able to kind of sit upright a little bit more. You'll be able to sit up, but you're still down low. That's your hips. Because the moment you get down there, your hips are like, no, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's
But then
tight,
when
tight.
you get down there and you're down there long enough, they start to relax. Then when your hips start to relax, you can actually manipulate your spine. If your hips are tight, you're not,
I'm
you can't,
curved.
you're curved. Just sit down there long enough. Get used to that and then start playing with letting go of the upright. Okay, well now you're letting go of the upright. Like now you can do it freestanding.
Interesting.
And bro, I'm not kidding you. I was the same as you,
Really?
and I was able to fix that. It is like literally one of the quickest ways and like the biggest hack to getting flexibility in your legs is just working on that.
Yeah, I have notoriously tight hips. I mean, Jay can chill in a fucking like owl pose. What is it? Frog stance. Yeah, he'll be on his phone chilling like that. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's good to know that even though you were born unathletic, you can become athletic with these.
I mean, I became athletic because I am faster than you.
We
did
raced
have
in
a
PR
race.
and I smoked
It
you.
is on film, and I beat you and Ethan. You were just Gordon was right.
You're a liar.
Delusional.
You're a liar.
You're delusional.
You're lying on
He
camera.
was right.
Don't drop the G word in here, bro.
He was correct. He was correct.
Oh,
man.
you're saying Gordon was correct. He's gonna love you now.
I know. It's a love-hate relationship.
God, what a weird little, from again an outsider's view, what a weird little thing that's been, man. From my perspective,
Yeah,
we
the
don't have to
drama.
get into the weeds unless you guys want to, but just seeing that, it's like, whoa, like there's something here.
The B team new wave thing or the Nicky Rod Gordon thing?
The B team,
Or
knew,
both.
like the splitting up of DDS, the
People are so invested in it. It's
because it's like
It's
okay,
the
you look at the
intrigue.
best, literally the best team. Something happens, boom. I mean,
And
like
the
let's
and
look
the
at the
brothers
facts
split.
here. Let's look at the fact. Yeah, one brother is here, one brother's here. Like, if that's happened, it can't be an amicable split up. Something's up,
is wrong.
right?
for sure.
So like
It
that
just goes
again.
right over people's heads.
I'm screaming for the
Oh, everybody
commenters
knows,
on
yeah.
this, you know,
Yeah,
and the
they
people
know, but
listening.
it's like
They're
they don't
feeling
put
the
two
same
and
way.
two
Like
together.
there's something that happened and it's like palpable, but people are just moving on, which is cool now. Like B team is like substantial, and you know, New Wave can do whatever they want over there. But
yeah.
You know, it's a big
We're,
tree.
we're
growing on
taking
top of
over
a
the
smaller tree.
YouTube world.
oh, it's great, dude. Your channel is great. You guys have a great mix of like you come into the gym, dudes fucking rolling, going hard, like making the funniest jokes, banter, rolling, banter, rolling.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really interesting formula. You guys have enough characters and funny shit going on. Like
It definitely takes a team to be successful. I'm curious what it's going to be like in 5 years, man. It might be quite different life.
Might be another split.
Well, let's not go that way.
well, Craig wants to go back to Australia at some point, right?
I'm sure in the long term.
Eventually.
I think
he loves
He's
Australia.
chilling enough to fucking have properties. Like
Yeah, he's gonna go where
I
he's
think
gonna
it's-
bounce around. I think.
yeah, he'll do.
He
something like
he
that.
bounces around now. He'll do 3 months
Yeah.
here, go away for a month, come back.
Yeah.
I think that's his ideal thing. Actually, like I think in his ideal world, he actually does live in Australia. But I think I could see him doing like 3 months in Australia, coming back 3 months in
Yeah.
Texas, 3 months in Australia. I could see him doing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nomad. He likes to travel
What
a
is
bit.
that? Nomad.
Nomad,
Define
somebody
nomad.
that
He's a
travels.
funny fucking dude, man. Jesus.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah.
He's interesting.
He's a character.
All right, we should wrap this up, right? It was
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
a bit. All right. Well, thanks for watching. You got something to say?
Thanks for watching Simpleman Podcast. You've been simplified. I'm Damien Anderson.
Nicky Rod.
JayRod.
Zack Telander, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being on.